Heyo!
Welcome to A Wolf Lives Here, where we break down any media for philosophical, cultural, and artistic significance and have a good time doing it. I'm John Munger.
Great time doing it. I'm Brett Hefner.
I'm Joe.
And there's a douchebag sitting next to me named Zack who's about to leave because he's a douchebag.
Just introduce yourself for the first time ever.
Yeah, they're going to hear more from you.
Yeah, you're going to be.
Yeah, alright. What's up, you guys?
No, yeah, that's way too quiet.
I know, I'm sorry.
For the first time
Please
ever,
say your name.
you've been way too quiet.
Hey everybody, this is Zack currently. I do have to step out today for reasons.
All right.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
All right, so today
Coitus.
we're going to talk about PT.
Motherfucking T.
Playable teaser, right?
Sure, that's exactly right.
All right, so PT was a phenomenon
Yeah.
coyly introduced via
E3.
E3, the PlayStation conference. They just kind of said, oh, by the way, PT is available on the PlayStation Store.
Right now.
Right
for
now.
download. You can do this.
No one knew
Did
what it was.
did they give it any sort of like introduction, like
Yeah,
what
they
it was
played
about?
a trailer.
There was no marketing of it, though.
There was no marketing. They played a trailer of it that made it look like the biggest trash heap I've ever seen. Swear to God. So they play this trailer that looks like generic trying to be Amnesia garbage, you know? And like,
Okay.
it looked very bad. And, I mean, Kojima was not on stage. No one affiliated with
Right.
that was on stage.
On the surface,
The
it is very bad, though.
Standard.
Absolutely not.
On
No.
the surface, because all you get is this one level
Just stop
that you're just looping around in. So if you haven't played it,
Oh, it's completely.
But-
That's the
think
thing.
it's
They
more
didn't
of
even
a-
show that in the trailer, though. Like, all they showed in the trailer was, like, a bit of Lisa, like, you know,
Yeah.
some jumpy kind of scary
Yeah, and
bullshit.
some of the like distorted visuals from
Yeah.
later in the demo. I thought the demo was put together perfectly. I mean, because with all the mystique of that, I mean, no one knew what it was at first until, you know, people on the internet.
Yeah, there was at no
exactly.
point. No, at no point in the demo was out at all like, this is a shitty game. This
Yeah.
is so lame.
But when I saw the trailer, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I'm not going to waste
So-
my time downloading it. It looks garbage.
So, short story, Kojima, master of the long con. And
Can we call him Kojima the Long Con?
No, we have to call him Kojima the Long Con San. That's his name.
Yeah.
oh yeah, duh.
All right, yeah. Perfect.
Thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
glad you didn't leave yet.
So right now, everybody's mourning that this PT or Silent Hills project isn't
Found
happening.
out, it was a demo / trailer for the new Silent Hill game,
Dubbed Silent Hills.
showing co-production between Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima, and
Starring Norman
fucking
Reedus.
Reedus.
Yes.
I never would have thought I'd see the day
Yeah.
where that
The
was
survival horror genre was going to be saved.
Oh,
in one
absolutely.
fail swoop.
Yeah, I mean it's like there's so much we can draw from what the survival horror genre is missing just by looking at what PT
Just
had.
PT
Just
versus-
like examining that feeling that we got whenever we were playing it, just like
I mean, especially comparing like what you would call a AAA survival horror game, like the Dead Space franchise,
AKA like
versus
garbage.
Well,
Let's not. I mean,
Well,
Dead
in that
Space
case,
1 and 2
later.
are very
Yeah, as
good.
Dead Space
3
franchise
is a
has
good
evolved.
game. It's just not a good survival horror game.
Right.
Right.
But it's like it's kind of hard for me to get mad at it
Which
because
is-
it's like, hey, let's
It's
put
fun.
this incredibly useful, incredibly fun weapon crafting system, but then really quickly you realize I'm a god now.
Yeah.
I'm literally walking around with a laser machine gun
That also is like
that
a
has a
flamethrower
concussion
right
cannon underneath it, and it's like, oh, this giant mutant thing that in Dead Space 1 I would have like cried everywhere and tried to run because I don't have any fucking plasma cutter bullets. It's like, oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna murder it. I'm never afraid.
And as the
That's
third
a-
game
that-
of that franchise, somehow doing the same thing on a third time, they just couldn't scare me anymore.
No, it was over.
Yeah.
It was over.
It,
I mean-
it really did reuse a lot of the same elements. I mean, I liked how they took it to a new planet. You didn't spend as much time in space as you did in the first two. Because, I mean, as well executed as it was in 1 and 2, the gimmick of, like, oh, I'm in space now.
had lost its appeal.
Even though god damn it, they did it so well. The first time in Dead Space 1, you have to step outside of the airlock, and there's just
no sound.
sound.
No sound.
Right.
Yeah, except for like your breathing.
Your heartbeat.
Yeah, that was I
There's
liked a lot of
good audio
the
and visual
stylistic.
scaring.
Yeah, I liked a lot of the stylistic effects that they did in Mass Effect. I think it was well executed.
Mass Effect or Dead Space?
Dead Space.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where that came from.
Because Mass Effect is scary too, bro.
It really can be. No, it really can be.
But no,
But in the way
I think that's kind of the perfect example of how the survival horror
that's what
genre.
happened. I mean, but we can make the same argument.
I think
with
it's funny that
you
the
gonna fucking let me
staple
talk,
franchise.
I mean, but the staple franchise.
I'm talking about Resident Evil.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dead Space did what Resident Evil did over like a 20-year period in like a 4
In 3 games.
Yeah, in 3 games. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's funny how like they just followed the formula
Exactly.
and
To their own
But then
defeat,
even at-
because there's not going to be a Dead Space 4.
right, you mimicked the thing that's dying off.
Yeah.
But even at RE4, I mean, obviously I have nothing bad to say about
Fuck
Resident
that.
Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4
But-
is probably the best game I've ever played.
It's one of the. It's like
But
a
it's not
completely
scary.
different kind. Yeah, it's a complete. It's you're never
There are
scared
parts
because
that
of
are
like.
scary.
So the question is,
You don't ever feel-
what did we get from PT that elicited a different response that got to our primal intuitions of what survival horror is supposed to be?
Lack of power.
Yes.
We have no idea
Absolutely.
what the
Yes.
hell is
Yeah.
going on.
Lack of
Power or
direction.
understanding.
There's no
I mean, I think-
backstory. You're just in this scary environment. It's all environmental.
Yeah. And
No
tell me
control.
about
All
this.
you can do is investigate. I mean,
They're not
it
telling
really
you you should
it really
be scared.
mimics. I think they. I mean, it mimics. I feel like you personally being in an environment where
Alien.
yeah, or investigating something for the first time. Most of us don't own guns or open carry or just generally aren't equipped to deal with some scary ass shit.
Yeah, and if you
if we did
you're generally
encounter
not
it.
trained to fight ghosts and monsters, even
Right.
with a gun or anything like that.
Right.
Foregoing some sort of Constantine scenario.
Which, I mean,
Which
Let's
we
talk
were
about that.
definitely,
Yeah.
we definitely trained at that point. A lot of
It
backstory.
keeps scaring you in new ways. You find out different weird shit, like that little hole in the wall in the bathroom,
yeah.
where you feel like you're looking in an eyeball or
Yeah, the
something.
whole time.
Yes.
You feel like you see something.
And then
in
But
there.
you don't really
There's
know
nothing
for
in
sure
there,
that
but-
there's something there.
And then even things that connect in a way that I didn't expect, because I've replayed that demo, I mean, at least 8 or 9 times, because it just from a programming standpoint, that demo is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How different every playthrough can be, the way the game handles the whole, because normally like the whole alien geometry thing, that's more of something in like what you would see in a film, because they'd be in an area and like a light would go out or something, and then the light comes back on and tiny things are different. But you don't really see a lot of it in a game, because in most games you're proceeding from point A to point B. You're not really going to come back and
Right.
You're gonna loop through point A
Right.
over and over.
and just the way like just the way everything was rendered, and then
Fox.
I playing through it over and over again. I would notice the first time I went in the bathroom and I realized that when the voiceover dub is going while the baby is in the sink, it's the fucking baby talking.
Yeah.
It's the baby. fucking
Seriously?
talking. Yeah.
I didn't notice it until the 4th time I went
Yeah.
through
You
it.
look
I was
in the
looking at
sink and the
stupid
baby is-
My
I
dad
never
was-
saw that.
Yeah, it's the
Exactly.
baby.
Not to mention that the baby's some amorphous fucking thing.
Yeah, it's not exactly
Yeah.
a baby.
Yeah.
Weird mutant fetus thing.
Chicken monster.
And then even the way, like, cause seeing
It's
other
so-
people play it that hadn't already played through it, like, it's I don't know, it's such a game. You have to pay so much attention to everything that's going on. Like the instance where through one of the loops when the refrigerator is hanging in the little foyer out to the front door. And at that moment, that's when you hear the radio description, and it's the guy talking about how did they ever give him a name? No, Lisa's husband.
Jareth is the popular idea.
Jareth?
Jareth is the
Jareth
popular
cute
idea.
story?
Yeah, Jareth cute story is the popular idea.
Jareth sad story.
There's some good things for that. But we're not gonna get into
Jared's
that.
biblical allegory.
Right.
I mean, the formula for playing
But they're
the
on the
teaser is
radio.
such a great
I mean,
formula.
yeah, I mean-
but it doesn't really feel like a Silent Hill derivative.
Well, I feel like it's because it's not
I feel-
it's not layered with the normal like surprise scary. It's psychologically layered in a way that's you are constantly
That's fresh.
unpeeling a different aspect of your psyche or curiosity that leads to fucking fear.
Yeah.
It feels
just
like
shitting
a
your
haunted
pants.
house game. Like
I mean,
I would
it is
love
a
to
haunted
see.
house simulator to some extent, which
Right.
I
I would love to see a
Could be
full
good or
house.
bad.
And I
I'd love
think-
to see a
I
full
think it-
house like that.
and I would like to see more gameplay layered onto that. You know
Right.
what
But
I
I
mean?
do feel
I
like
think
you
it really
know-
it's really has the Hideo Kojima signature in that sense that it teases with the supernatural. I mean, like
But that's
there's
the thing
always
about
there's
it.
always an element of a real believability in the environment because so much is as one
Right.
would expect.
Right.
And there are like just that baby is a perfect example. It's just like, is this really a baby or
what am I looking at?
Exactly.
You question your own eyes for a moment.
Right.
But I still feel like the demo is still absolutely representative of what a new Silent Hill game could be
And should be.
Because what happened? I mean, basically, the demo, the house you're in slowly slips into the other dimension that's in every Silent Hill. Especially when you solve the It's the picture piece puzzle. When you come back and then all of a sudden all the lights are red.
Yeah, whenever you get to that
everything
point,
is horrifying. All the pictures are eyeballs.
Right.
But I like it because it was a more gradual like slip into that.
Right.
Instead of the dramatic.
Where Lisa could step through freely, obviously, like when she throws that fucking face at you and I wanted to cry.
No.
And I thought I was gonna be.
Silence your phone. We're very professional right now.
I mean, and that has really allowed it to every time allow you to be scared, because I mean that was the thing about the old survival horror games, is that things that scared you the first time would never scare you a second time. You know, like there wasn't something.
People like to talk up the dog window in Resident Evil,
but it never scares anybody.
No, it scares you the first time, and then that's it. And
there's no real psychological element to it. I mean, there's something that's genuinely unnerving about the game every single playthrough.
And I don't want to shit on Resident Evil because there are a lot of really great survival horror aspects.
And it developed the genre.
Exactly.
Even in RE4, like, I mean, because I've replayed that game, the same thing, I mean, at least 15 times. The game would scare me on its own because I would get overconfident and try to remember how things work. I remember probably the 4th or 5th time I played the game, the scene with the first regenerator. I chose a little video of him like coming out of the vat, and I hear his stupid little like.
As weird whispery.
I was like, oh, okay, it's the first regenerator. It's this idiot. He comes out of this door. Fuck this guy.
This cell, like right to your right.
And then I sat there aiming my gun at the door for 10 minutes, and then I heard the noise directly behind me. Turned around and spooked all over my room.
Yeah, it was over with.
But I do have to go.
All right, congratulations.
All right, buddy.
Thanks
for ruining the podcast.
Hanging out with the Zack.
Fucking ass. All right. Bye, Zach.
Okay, so Zack's regenerator.
Yeah, I think it represents, because the regenerator itself.
It was a mechanic.
Yeah,
it was a mechanic that added, to
a layer.
Yeah, a layer of unpredictability that add to the psychological element. I think what Kojima mimicked was a really good thriller, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think about how he pulled that off. Like what really, what components were there that added up to be what
I liked about it.
Yeah, and what the overall experience.
I think we touched on it already a little bit. Just the environment, and like Zach said earlier, the fact that you're stuck in this one hallway corridor and this bathroom, and you have to keep revisiting it and looking at all the little things that change.
So like a layer of like...
It just creates this intrigue and suspense. And then you get the shock value of... What's the name of the...
Oh, yeah, Lisa.
Of Lisa showing up every once in a while to scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, randomly, for one. Completely unpredictable. That whole random element that really
adds a lot.
Defined the game. Like, I mean, that, and there was, I think, probably the most, like, engrossing part, and why it was constantly just put you on edge, is that you weren't given any hints. There's no HUD. There's nothing except you and your wits trying to figure out what you're supposed to be figuring out.
If you're supposed to be beating this game somehow, or collecting clues so you can
you
do something.
There was a long time where I was like, I don't think you can beat this. I think you just do this hallway over and over again.
Leave everything, like, completely. I mean, it's kind of like what I would like to deem forced immersion. Like there's so many elements of games that allow us to kind of immediately recognize the artifice that this is a game, rather than like being completely engrossed in the movie that you're watching in the movie theater because the lights are all dim, because there's no distractions. you have all this artifice that you can easily point at and say, "Oh, I'm playing a video game. And you have constant reminders that you're playing a video game. You have your menu. You have a hints or
things
objectives
that pull you out of that fear.
Right. There was none of that, and I feel like that's probably the most engrossing.
I like that they even
aspect.
subverted the menu to an extent by hiding that final puzzle piece in there, where you have to pull up the start menu and press the R3
Yet
button.
another one of those those Hideo Jedi tricks where it's like, what is happening? What is my reality right now?
Yeah. Subverting your expectations of what is possible in a video game is perfect, and it immerses you better than anything. And I think immersion is probably the key factor that's important for horror games, and I think that gets lost a lot of the time. I don't necessarily think a game that has great gameplay can be as scary as a game that doesn't necessarily have great gameplay. You know what I mean?
like the thing that we always
the more
used to-
fun I'm having with the mechanics of the game, the less I'm afraid. It's the problem Dead Space had. That game is way too fucking fun.
Right.
Dead
The
Space
weapon
is a fucking
systems.
blast.
It's a blast to kill the zombies. You're ripping their legs off and throwing them back down.
You're having a good time. You're scared, honestly, but there's something much more frightening about like Silent Hill 2, where I can barely fucking control the character. Like I got these garbage ass tank controls.
Yeah, there's
and,
barely any interaction.
There's no
with
response to what I'm trying to do. I don't have a whole lot of options for anything.
Right.
or the original like RE.
Yeah, the tank
Clunky controls.
Clunky ass controls. Like it's not fun necessarily, but
It's
it definitely
intriguing.
enhances
Your fun
fear.
is derived from your fear.
Yeah, the fact that I'm not a superhero in this shit in the slightest.
Right. Yeah.
It's good stuff, and it's really upsetting that it's canceled now. Guillermo del Toro recently said, I think this was either yesterday or today, he had a little interview with someone stating that he's very, he's upset. He and Kojima had really gotten close. They're kind of like good friends now, and they're both pretty upset that it's done. There's nothing they can do about it.
And there's rumors that PlayStations with this game loaded on it are going for high dollar
That's not rumor.
values.
That's true.
Yeah, that is
man.
no
Those
rumor.
motherfuckers are selling.
And yeah,
So what kind of numbers are we talking about
Talking
here?
like
1,000 to 1,800.
yeah.
Now, of course, that means
Some
you're
cheddar.
It's essentially you're paying for somebody else's PlayStation Network account because
Right.
they have to. You can only have one, one copy of any particular game activated or on your activated PS4. So you have to essentially sell your account and for your account.
Yeah.
I guess.
So to make it worthwhile, you literally have to have very little purchase history
Right.
on your PlayStation Network account.
And then send. So I wonder just as a side shoot if people are listing all the other stuff they have. I wonder
Yeah,
what.
like they're
I
like,
wonder
this
what
is
the
PT, but it's also I got
Right.
Yeah, because it'd be interesting to see what
light,
it'd be interesting to see what the actual inflated value of PT is. Like if you subtract on average what
the fact that you're getting a PlayStation and
All these other
yeah,
games,
like if you
and
subtract
movies
all the
and-
other games, how much is on average is PT actually selling for?
I think it's still selling for a lot. I mean, $1,800 is a fucking shit ton of money, man.
But I would say people easily have that much invested in their PlayStation Network account. Now that everything
Yeah, I
is day
don't.
one digital.
Like I don't have anything. Like I have a bunch of like free games that I got from.
So you're a hard
Live.
copy guy?
So you
Yeah,
should
I'm definitely a hard copy.
You should
guy.
definitely sell your.
I know, right? I should
PS4.
fucking sell it.
I'm a digital guy.
I
Like
get everything physical. I don't know
Except
why
then you
I
wouldn't
like,
get to play PT, which kind of defeats the purpose.
Right, yeah, and I really enjoy.
I think it makes sense if you play a lot of different games to be a hard copy guy because you're gonna run out of hard drive space.
Yeah.
I got the stupidest reason for being a hard copy guy. I'm a hard copy guy because I actually like the shelf. Like I like.
Yeah.
I like
You
the
like
look
showing
of
it off.
Yeah, I like the
Right.
shit on my shelf.
It looks
I like
good.
It. Like, it's a way easier to just download games and have them right there, and I don't have to get up and put like different discs in and shit. That'd be
Right.
fucking rad. And whenever I do boot up a game that I have digitally downloaded, it's always awesome. I'm like, oh yeah, I got fucking Bloodborne in the drive right now, but I
It would
just
be
went
nice-
over to Secret Ponchos and just fucking loaded it. Like,
Right,
Yeah.
getting completely off subject for a second. It would be nice if they started doing like a lot of the movies DVDs comes with. Like you get a Blu-ray, you
And
get a digital
digital
disc,
copy.
and you get a CD-ROM. So you could like,
They're trying to make that money, man. They're not trying to do us any favors right now, unfortunately.
yeah, it'd be nice to be able to take your hard copy library and transfer it onto your PlayStation
kind of,
or
yeah.
Xbox or Wii U or whatever it is. But
We ain't living in that time.
back to Konami.
Yeah, I'm like trying to remember this point I had, but that's not coming.
It's gone.
it's just.
It doesn't matter. Well, we talk about like Konami's
in the
done.
fucking ether.
Like Konami's
Well,
done
they
with
do
games.
have Metal Gear Solid coming out.
Yeah, which is amazing, but that game's like already done. And like after Metal Gear Solid, it looks like from what they're saying, they're moving fully into mobile. Like they're
What?
totally.
I
moving
hope
into
somebody-
That casino games and
mobile. Oh, and they're already.
If they're
pretty
in that
deep
kind
in
of
casino
financial
games.
trouble, I hope somebody will come
They're
in
not
and
in
buy
financial
it.
trouble. They're just done with making games.
they took a big hit when
Well,
they.
somebody needs to
withdrew
buy
from
their
the-
video game IPs then.
Yeah, right. They could really sell Metal Gear. That's the thing. It's worth more to them as an iPhone game that like they'll make a shit ton of money off of microtransactions for like the Metal Gear card game that they're gonna put out.
Oh
sure.
my God.
Yeah, it sounds disgusting.
Please
It
say that's
hurts.
not going to be the future of Metal Gear
It's
Solid.
the future of Metal Gear Solid, and it's upsetting.
For a diehard Metal Gear Solid fan, I might as well have been shat in on my face.
Yeah, you're probably the biggest Metal Gear Solid fan I know, and that's the understanding of the situation is that.
Look,
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid has had a drought before, a big drought.
What?
We're talking 20 years.
We are.
So we might
What?
be in
Did
for
I just
another
miss
Metal
something?
Gear
I don't
Solid
know.
drought.
What are you
I'm
talking
talking about the original Metal Gear games.
What about them?
There was a big drought between them and the ones that came out.
There was
It was a-
Metal Gear, and then Metal Gear 2, and then how long before
Before
Solid came out?
I know 98 was Metal Gear Solid, and I think
So it wasn't like
80,
super long. It was probably like
80s.
6 or 7 years. Something
Type,
like that.
Metal Gear.
It was that?
Rising.
Seriously?
We're definitely not Googling it right now.
Yeah, we are. We're Googling it, guys.
Metal Gear
Just a second.
release.
Near Gear release.
I think I wanted
I never
to say
played
it was
the original
84,
Metal Gear games,
87. So,
so
it
I
was
just
a
assumed
10-year,
it was a long
It was a
time.
10-year hiatus for, and it was I don't
'cause
know
Metal Gear 2
to
is not
characterize
really,
it as a drought. I feel like doesn't capture.
Yeah, there it is right there.
Yeah, it doesn't really capture it. Like I mean, there was never a point in which Metal Gear Solid was falling off. You know, there was never a point where like anybody stopped revering it as a good title.
Yeah, because I mean, even
It
the
was
original-
forgotten for those 8 years.
I think. I mean, it's a good point. I mean, that's a pretty big
And I
gap.
think most people start their Metal Gear saga with Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid. I mean, there are like some people who like remember playing the originals, and they were well regarded. The originals were definitely like
Right,
held in high regard.
Yeah, there was some lore there. There was some, like cult following.
So all I'm saying, we could be in for another 10 years before you
Here's the
get
not.
thing: do I even want a Metal Gear without Kojima?
I definitely
don't. Think so.
don't.
I don't think I do. Like, that's not anything I have an interest in.
Like there's nobody with the vision that he has and the attention to detail that he has. Like I know that my point about PT was something along those lines. It's
So we-
just-
Was that Kojima as a wunderkind in that?
Yeah.
We've already experienced Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, which is a non-Kojima.
game. Yeah.
a
A lot of people
Metal Gear
really
Acid.
like it.
I thought it was fun, but it didn't feel like
It's
a
not
Metal Gear Solid game.
No, it's a Devil May Cry game.
Yeah, exactly. Metal Gear.
To its point, though, I mean, it was good.
Metal Gear
Yes.
Cry.
Metal Gear Cry, sure.
I'm sure we'll get a
Devil May
sequel of
Rising.
that.
Devil May Rising Revengeance. I want to fill your dark soul with light.
I love the combat system in that game.
It's great. It has a really. I mean, that team Platinum makes great games. Like, they make really fun.
Their boss battles were amazing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump into Phantom Pain real quick.
I mean, sure. You would have to take the lead on that.
Let's pull up the trailer.
Yeah, let's watch a trailer. And none of the people at home are gonna watch it unless they want to go and watch it right
Well, they
now.
can,
Hey,
they
go
can
watch-
hear it.
Go.
Go watch this trailer and then.
Well, which trailer? Because there's like 10.
Let's watch the big one.
No, let's watch the one with fucking standing on the edge. The
Oh,
fucking
yes,
yeah.
that fucking song. All right,
The
go
one that E3 with the cool fucking 70s sounding song. You know the one.
Yeah,
Watch that one.
you know the goddamn.
We're gonna get some motivation. You guys go watch it. We'll watch it. and We'll come right
Pause
back.
it. Come back. All right.
Oh my
And
god,
you're
that
back.
trailer was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And you're back.
Yeah, we're back. Obviously.
All right. So
We ended up watching
It's-
2 trailers. In all fairness, we did watch the other.
the red trailer
The Red Band trailer. For
And-
Nuclear.
and the nuclear.
Nuclear.
Jesus.
Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Way to go
Nuclear.
Bush on this, buddy.
GW.
I do it every time.
So
Hey, we're from the
there's
South.
a certain weight that comes from that trailer.
Yeah.
It's just like I really had to like. There's so many feelings I have to feel when I watch that.
Hype, mostly.
Hype,
There's a
man,
lot of
hype. There's definitely a lot of hype, but I mean it's it's the drive is solely fucking psychological. I mean, there's so many questions I'm asking.
Right.
Aside from the fact that you said that what's her name, Quiet might be Chico.
Yeah, a lot of people
which
think that.
Which would definitely make me a lot more open to exploring sex with a transgendered person because she's so fucking hot.
And then we have this shrapnel that's sticking out of Snake's head.
That's
it keeps
so
getting
amazing.
smaller and bigger and doing all kinds of crazy
Yeah,
shit throughout the...
Presumably only bigger.
Well, we don't know. Like maybe it's receding in.
Yeah,
Who knows?
and there could be like a karmic system.
Wow, that'd be kind of weird, right?
Yeah, but that would be a new thing for Kojima.
Very new thing.
But he's never shied away from that. I just think there's always a narrative to any mechanic that he brings in. I'm not sure if that. I mean, there definitely could be a narrative for that.
Yeah.
You know, like whether you embrace the crazy, but I don't know. It seems like it's only going in one direction, and that's full blown revenge
And losing
fueled.
it. Yeah.
Right. You had a great
Insanity.
point about that, Brett.
Yeah, he's like losing it. I mean, and I think Kojima, he's been, in interviews, he's been saying he really wants to embrace that kind of that theme of like the fallen hero gone bad. That kind of like the longer you're around as the hero,
The
the more
perversion,
likely to be the villain. Like,
the subtle
Prosthetic
and
arms.
slow perversion of a hero, and like I think that's what he's always done well. He's done well with Gray. I mean,
Like coping with loss and pain and
Yeah.
suffering.
yeah,
you've always had the sympathetic hero, which I think some people can tire of, but he's always done it in a way that's believable, that I can suspend my disbelief. I guess 4 being maybe the hardest of them to swallow, but then like at face value maybe, but then the codec transmissions from Drebin that give these backstories after Snake so-called cleanses them.
yeah.
I mean, he always manages to reel in that believable anti-hero. So, what did you think of the whole Diamond Dogs? Like, Christina, what does Diamond Dogs stand for again? What is that all about? You don't know?
You do know.
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
You have Nutella mouth. Right
You
now.
told me.
You got Nutella all over your mouth.
What was the what was
Shout
it?
out
I don't
Nutella.
know. I'll have to look it up.
I thought you knew.
I found out from you.
That was informative.
Why are you being cheeky right now?
Don't be coy with me. I will take that Nutella spoon.
You're making
right
us
up.
look dumb in front of all our listeners.
Does that have anything to do with like blood diamonds and like?
It's
Africa?
something to do with Orwell, isn't it? Like 1984. Like, but
I don't know. I don't know.
She does not know. You
I-
hallucinated
why is
her
she
knowing.
lying right now? I'm like a professional guy at testing like if someone's lying, and you're lying right now. You're lying very much.
You don't want to be wrong.
All right, we have to
Exactly.
move on
I'm
at this
unsure
point.
of the source.
Okay, well,
What
tell
is
us
your
what you think.
What you were told by someone
a
else.
caveated? Yeah, we'll give the
No.
caveat. She's not quite
1
sure.
second. We'll come back to that.
Oh my god.
We're coming back.
And
to
we're
that.
coming back to Diamond
Introducing Christina, obviously.
Dogs. Christina Thompson, my beloved girlfriend, who is amazing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a girlfriend.
So, Emmerich,
Yeah.
not Emmerich. Yeah,
Emmerich.
Dad, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember his first name.
It's not Hal.
Ivan?
No, I can't remember. That's crazy. This whole torture element from the red trailer.
A lot of torture.
But nuclear. I mean, just the blood smattered face, wiping the ashes of his dead comrades on his face. Like there's
It's
just full blown.
Colonel Kurtz.
We didn't get a lot of blood and
Jumping.
gore in the previous Metal Gear releases.
Oh, there was some.
There
There was a lot of
plenty.
killing, but you didn't really get
No,
graphic.
there was definitely graphic stuff.
Yeah, there's like the ninja scene, like with a
There's
fucking
vamp.
Hulk.
Yeah,
like-
vamp. Oh my god.
It was kind of isolated though.
I think what it's doing now is
It always
with
creeped me
the
out.
heaviness of its themes this time around. And they've always had heavy themes, but this time they're really digging
Oh,
in
it's
deep to,
dark.
like some very.
There's always been like Snake is the kind of shining light.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
maybe like a tragic hero, but
More
always
hero than anti-hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the heaviness of the themes compounded with the amount of violence that is
The
shown.
cinematography seems to like.
We're getting a
really-
very bad version of
really,
Snake
like-
in this game. It seems like
Yeah.
we're getting a bad man.
Yeah, and then we're gonna watch that slide. I
There's a
think.
very apt description of what all that you just said.
A bad man. But
Um,
yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to watching that decline of a hero into a villain.
Like watching Kaz get out the plane.
helicopter, yeah.
We both just looked over at each other and were like, "This shit,
It's real.
it's so rough,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
it's so like there's so much of a visceral, like
You carry that weight for a little while of that trailer. Like
Ah.
if you really dig into it.
there's so much weight behind every person's struggle, and it's like what 5 minutes,
Yeah.
but it's like how did he just insert somebody's life right into my soul?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, biases aside, we do we have some familiarity with the characters and stuff like that, of course. But I mean, still, the amount he's able to pull from you as the viewer just based
But
off of
and it's pretty much. I mean, the only real impetus that you would have outside of this trailer would be the last scene of Ground Zeroes, where they have pause with the. Well, actually, when Outer Haven is invaded and you're watching Kaz and Big Boss fight off their invaders, which I guess presumably is the U.S. government
yeah,
coming for inspection.
yeah,
United Nations, maybe.
maybe.
I can't. Now I can't remember, but I thought it was the U.S. CIA or somebody was coming to do the investigation. So
Moving on from that, compiling everything we just talked about, how much we're looking forward to Metal Gear,
and
and the fact that
it being a
Kojima-
perfect
yeah,
example of a AAA title,
Yeah,
we wanted to get into what we're missing from these, or what kind of void is being created from these AAA titles, namely, where's the middleware,
yeah, it's gone. I mean,
and what are we lacking? What are the indie titles that are really having a resurgence? What are they bringing? What element are they bringing back to us?
yeah, the thing that what are we seeing there that we like so much that we're not getting out of the AAA space right now?
Well, I think
Right.
if you look at something as simple as a game that was highly touted this past year, Shovel Knight,
Yeah,
independent title, just a simple platformer that was done in a classic NES style, and just had
with
great.
that very awesome coat of paint that we can give to an NES style game now, where we have a gorgeous NES style game. You know?
Yeah,
what
it's
I mean?
gorgeous 8-bit art and styling and just amazing gameplay.
And
I
that's
think
where it
that gets
focuses
lost in
a
these
lot of the
AAA
time.
titles.
And we just spent a lot of time talking about PT, which has amalmost no gameplay, and then we moved into Metal Gear, which is pretty well balanced. I feel.
Well, it has
between-
almost no interaction,
Yeah,
PT, but it's an amazing gameplay.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And then
It's an
Shovel Knight
amazing
is
experience.
concentrated gameplay.
Perfect mechanics,
Yeah,
perfect
and,
platforming.
And we derive a lot of fun from that, obviously, as we play video games for the gameplay.
Right.
generally.
Well, we had talked at one point about how, people had really, with the AAA titles, there's so much emphasis being put on production value.
Yeah, cutscenes. It's like a movie.
It's
interactive
really
movie.
and there's what really used to excite us about a new game would be new mechanics. Oh, did you see you could wall climb on this one?
Oh yeah, in Devil May Cry 3 when you could switch weapons on the fly.
Right.
You
That,
can walk and shoot.
that was blowing
Right.
my mind, man.
And then it really happened with this most recent generation where there was an ability to do, heavily cinematic games that, we just lost emphasis on the part that we
that
fucking
we
play
grew up on
games
was
for.
the gameplay
Actually
itself.
playing the game.
Which is where that's Shovel Knight is a love letter to that,
It's so approachable
Hotline
too.
Miami, bruh.
Hotline Miami,
Oh my
it's
God.
just really good gameplay, just great mechanics.
Right.
And what I think Hotline Miami like reminds us is it doesn't take cinematic, like heavy cinematic
movie style stuff
to really induce this sense of lore and like what the fuck is happening
Yeah.
in this game.
to pique your interests in
And
like the world around.
It's
you.
okay for a game to be challenging. There doesn't have to be this super long skill build up where they're
Right,
teaching,
but-
holding your hand,
Yeah. Tell me
introducing
about
one
it.
new mechanic every, level or world. It's like,
And
we're
like
just
that.
going to throw you right into this. It's going to be awesome. You're going to die a bunch of times, but you're going to respawn fast, and it's going to be fun along the way. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're gonna have a great time.
there's nothing wrong with a hard game. And you see something like Hotline Miami, it's challenging, but you're constantly respawning,
I love
getting
it.
sick kills.
I think
The environment is amazing.
Sick
The
kills.
music is
Sick
amazing.
If I
kills.
had to pull a bullet point on Hotline Miami, it's sick kills.
kicking somebody against the wall, kicking their face,
Kicking their
in.
face into pieces, and just like the beautiful like smatter of blood. It's like always very like
Like-
it drives you.
Like speaking of drive, it's pretty much drive.
It's pretty much drive.
Drive meets a 16-bit video game.
Yeah, and like some like Tarantino-esque violence going in there.
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty awesome.
it's a great game, and like that's what we're talking about here is like the independent developers are giving you the gameplay now, and like that's where you're getting this like main line of just straight pure fun mechanics, as opposed to like a lot of these AAA games are moving more and more to a very cinematic experience
And
on
what
rails.
I think what we're
hand-holding.
finding is that like that's not the immersion that it doesn't really produce the immersion it's trying to capture.
Right.
Like a beautiful environment only goes so far. You need something more.
You need the
It's-
substance.
And they have almost no replay value.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I watched the movie.
and now
I
done
pressed
with the
A
movie.
when it told me to press A. And now what? You know?
It's over.
This
Like,
is going on my
where's-
shelf. I'm going
where's-
to bring it to GameStop, trade in for something else.
Where's the reward for being a skilled player?
Right.
Right.
You know, like that's something that Devil May Cry has always
Yeah.
allowed. Like that's where the replay value comes in. Is
Yep.
you can always perfect it, and it's actually rewarding.
To perfect it.
Right,
You gotta get good.
Yeah,
That's like the whole point.
if you want to get an S rank, if you want to get super stylish as you're playing,
Yeah.
like you are
You
not
gotta work at it.
word.
I forget what the industry term is it for it, but they have so many of these games like Tomb Raider and The Last of Us and stuff where you have these sequences where they
Interactive.
flash buttons on the screen.
The
in
quick time
Crisis,
events.
the quick
Yeah.
time events.
Yeah, they were bad mostly.
That's what a lot of the games are based on.
Context sensitive events or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right. It's like there's no skill in quick time. It's just pressing the button at the right time.
Yeah. And a lot of, like, I remember going back to Resident Evil 4, that was like the first game to like introduce that like quick time event. And it was great, it was awesome. I remember like
Right.
it was the first time I'd ever been afraid during a trailer, or like a CGI cutscene. You're in the middle of a cutscene and then suddenly something happens that could very much end your play right now if you don't do something
It
about
would be
it.
cool if
But
they,
it just got fucking hoed
I
out.
think
so
they,
hard,
yeah, it has
dude.
its
Like,
place.
they
It
hoed
has
it
its
out.
place.
they pimped that shit out.
It's everything
it's
now.
everywhere.
It's all we have.
And
There's
it's-
no AAA titles that are like a
without
Shovel
that.
Knight type game.
Yeah.
That's on a larger scale.
But that's not a bad thing, I don't think, because like I like, and there are like talking about the gameplay of how like games need to be harder and need to be more focused on gameplay. There are AAA games that are now like going back to that. We're seeing like there are AAA games that are trying to get.
Well, they have
in touch
certain
with-
genres that are better at doing it than others.
like I like Dark Souls and Demon Souls and Bloodborne. Those are very much like old school styled like games where you're
Like
not
Castlevania type stuff.
You're not getting any kind
mixed
of
with
tutorial.
a higher budget
Yeah, and that's the
development
thing.
of graphics and
Yeah,
such.
like because Bloodborne looks fucking gorgeous. Like that game had.
Can you think of any other that is that challenging? I mean, I feel like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and Bloodborne are really in a league of their own at this point.
Yeah, they're in difficulty and in that kind of style where like gameplay over everything else kind of like idea.
But yet again, that bare bones focus on the mechanics didn't take away from the lore.
no, the lore is amazing in this
Right.
game. It's like-
In fact, I feel like it's really better to have that. Like or at least to me, it's way more seductive to have an environment where I'm constantly asking questions about what provoked this
Yeah.
particular.
What is happening right now?
Yeah, what provoked this environment?
I have to look
Why is there
at-
this poster on the wall? And
Right.
what movement is that? Like Diablo is a perfect example of something that has maintained that. Like always, I mean, D3 is probably the the most cinematic that any D3 or Diablo game has been, but it's still maintained like very tenuous plot and lots of like little
You're doing it on your own.
lots of like scrolls you pick up or things that allow you to piece together a narrative, and then just lots of stuff that leaves you questioning.
I think part of the element of why, the modern games, especially in the like 3D platformer realm, don't have the same kind of skill curve that like Mega Man or something like
Yeah.
Shovel Knight has, is because they're 3D. It's so hard to make a 3D platformer that can
Challenging.
execute
Yeah.
a challenging, twitch jumps from platform to platform. It just doesn't seem like I can't think of any 3D platformer that kind of recreates like a Mega Man experience in a 3D realm.
And man, Mega Man is, if we're talking about fucking hard games,
Right.
Mega Man's fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's a
I got that
I mean,
shit
they've
off
had
virtual store, and I haven't played that shit since.
Well, I mean, that's also because like
I said, fuck, this game is hard.
that's also
Yeah.
because generally like we want the mechanics to get better. I mean, that's what we were missing, and Mega Man and platformers had long since had their mechanics improved vastly. So
Yeah.
going back and playing the shitty mechanics is what is really annoying. You want a game with fresh, intuitive,
clean mechanics like Shovel Knight that
yeah,
also has
but
it.
it's the same
right? Maybe
formula.
and
It's super
inventive,
simple.
I
I mean, it's just so well done, but I don't see that in the 3D world. We get the
3D
2.5D.
The 3D platformer's been like dead for a minute too. Like,
well, I mean, that's
like,
with games like Assassin's Creed, you've already encroached on that genre so
That's what
heavily.
they've kind of done.
It can't be. There's no
room for just the 3D platform.
right.
anymore,
It's already been encapsulated by better versions of
Yeah,
that.
it's like it's
The
that
free
plus
roam.
now.
Right.
Yeah, the free roam Assassin's Creed jumping from building to building, but also like it's layered with all this other stuff like assassinations and
yeah.
sneaking
Quick time
around
events and
well, I don't think that Assassin's
long
Creed has any
cutscenes.
No.
quick time events, but I mean, let's not get started on Assassin's Creed because
Let's just not do that. We'll save that for another.
I think
podcast.
there's
that's
genres
a whole other
that-
podcast where I can talk about why that game sucks now.
There still are genres of video games that are heavily focused on mechanics. They're fighting games, sports games, shooter games, that reward you for getting better at the game.
But I don't think that
And have
the
lots of
shooters
replay
really
value.
have.
Yeah, I think that's a
shooters
good
are
place.
dead.
That's a point of contention right there. 'cause
Yeah, like
I don't play shooters, so you guys tell me about what.
shooters are very.
they've been doing the same old thing for a long time, and that's fine because
A lot of people want to play it still.
all that you can really do is like
Point the
upgrade
reticle.
the graphics. I mean, what can you do to improve it? Improve like the rewards. I mean, that's what they do in Call of Duty. But like, I guess the most recent version of Call of Duty, and I don't play Call of
Advanced
Duty.
Warfare. Well, you used to.
But no,
A little
really.
bit.
I went through a phase,
Very little bit.
like back in Call of Duty 4.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I hang out with people that play it a lot, and they're trying to
Ian.
always.
Yeah.
Well, Marty is a friend of ours from work, but yeah, he is telling you about these cool like mid-air strafe mechanics. It's like kind of like a marriage of Halo.
I've
and,
heard that the
So
new one
they
has
have
kind of
added mechanics.
reinvigorated the franchise a little bit.
Yeah.
More so than the
Although
last
Ian,
like 3 or 4
Ian
games have.
won't jump on it because
of that.
he's too big on dad life right now.
He
so.
is big on dad life. 3 kids will make you big on dad life.
Yeah.
But at least those games have
No hate
replay
there.
value.
Yeah, I
For
mean,
some people.
it's
I don't
all
know.
about the
The
online
multiplayer, yeah,
it's
there's
all
a
about-
replay value to it.
if that's not what you're looking for in a game, then you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Yeah.
But obviously, it appeals to lots of people.
So are there any solutions y'all could think to like
Well,
fix the 3D platform?
I don't know if I want to talk in such concrete terms, but I definitely would. So the indie titles brought back an emphasis on mechanics.
And gameplay, yes. Yeah.
I think also an emphasis on heart
Yeah.
I can say something as
Is not quantifiable.
as intangible as that.
Yeah.
Like, just really committing to, like, all the subtleties of your game, even if it's a 6-bit game.
6-bit.
16.
Well, I just think these indie companies have found this point of diminishing returns on scale and scope of a game, where if you do a 2D top-down shooter like Hotline Miami or 2D side-scrolling platformer, and you do really cool 8-bit art, you don't have a huge 1,000-man army making the game.
Exactly.
But you still make something that's beautiful and really fun to play, and you sell it for $15. I mean,
That's rad.
I
That's
think
super
I
rad.
think some of the heart gets lost in just the sheer architecture of creating
A game?
a game that
Yeah.
when you're having to piece it out to 18 different developers.
Let's talk about why Assassin's Creed sucks again. The
Right.
fact that like 5 different teams work on it and it's like over
Right.
1,000
Piecemeal.
people.
How do you
That's no heart at all in that. Like,
no.
when somebody works on a game, or a single team works on a game from start to finish, they're going to notice subtleties that they want to include, or they're
polish.
going to have a certain polish that I don't think you can
And
achieve
personality.
from
Look, it's like too many cooks, all right, guys. Like,
Right.
too many
it
guts.
just really is. Like, there's no way. I don't care how
The vision
advanced
gets
our
lost.
communication abilities are. You can't make a game in 5 different fucking countries at once. The game
One
comes out
unified
garbage.
vision, yeah.
Like it's insane that they think that's working, and I guess to an extent it is because they keep selling well.
Right.
But I would really love to get back to a point
I
where they
wonder-
just like
I doubt
one
that they're-
team makes the game.
Yeah, I doubt their
Which brings us to
their
Nintendo.
most successful projects have been large groups, and I don't know. Maybe that's
I don't
completely
know.
fallacious.
I don't know.
But I would be curious to know if it was large groups.
Because I know fan-wise, their most popular games are like Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, and then one of the later ones, Black Flag, to some extent. A lot of people really fucking love that one. I do too. That was the last one I enjoyed. But I know that like at some point after 2 in Brotherhood, they really expanded how many teams are working on each game, and it's like Ubisoft is a massive developer with
Right.
like studios in multiple countries.
Lots of IP.
And like they're all working on one game, countries apart, and there's just no way. And like you can
have
just look
scope.
at you just look at the critical response and the like fan response of games like Assassin's Creed Revelation or Assassin's Creed 3 or Unity, which are just like really bad. Like,
It's like large government, kind of. It just doesn't work.
right? Let's get real political. But yeah, I feel like they need to rein it in a little bit and focus their efforts. But to your point, you're talking about 3D platformers. Interestingly enough, a Kickstarter just went out. I don't know if you saw it yet. For Ukulele, they're really trying to revive the 3D platformer, like in its full glory.
Oh, you know what we
Not
didn't
free
mention?
roaming, just 3D
yeah, just a
platform.
3D platformer.
You know what we didn't mention? That's an awesome 3D platformer.
Crash Bandicoot.
They-
Portal. Duh, man.
Yeah, I guess that is.
Portal is like
Crash
solely,
Bandicoot is a
solely
3D platformer in the truest sense of the word, though.
Yeah.
They really did it. They kept it almost
That's the
to
thing.
the point it's not even really 3D.
That's the thing. It was
It's like a
dope
2.5D
then, and it's dead now.
from
Like, there are
another
no
from
games there.
another direction.
Well,
Yeah.
From
Ratchet
behind
and
you
Clank.
instead of the side of you.
Yeah, it's like the first endless runner game.
Right.
But
I mean, Nintendo has done a lot of 2.5D platformers, but they don't even really have. Well, they have the Mario Galaxy games
yeah,
and
which
like
are super good.
good games. Yeah, I think Nintendo's done the best at the 3D
Oh, they're the
platform.
only ones doing it. And
Right.
They're doing it so good. It's like I don't think anybody else really has a shot. I wish they did, because I know there are a lot of people who are hungry for that, and that Ukulele Kickstarter proved that, because that shit got funded like immediately.
You never know with Banjo and Kazooie being on Smash Bros. We
Yeah.
could get
That's the thing.
Microsoft coming out with a Banjo and Kazooie 3D platform.
Ukulele is being made by the people who originally made Banjo Kazooie. So
What?
this is like, yeah, this is their like rebirth into
Heart.
that. Yeah, a lot of people are really excited about it. I've
I mean,
actually
we had
never
like
been.
Spyro the Dragon on PlayStation.
Yeah, well, there was an age. I think the original PlayStation like really.
Before we got to the free roam.
harbored that.
Yeah, I mean, we were transitioning from the 2D systems, so naturally we were going to continue to do what we did on the 2D, And
Or
it really,
jump on things. But
Yeah.
we're gonna continue to make platformers, and it slowly, as we explored what we could do with, higher graphics and computing power, people were like, wait a minute, we can do something that's more interesting.
Yeah, it
than
was
a
about
platformer.
mascots.
Oh
And
yeah, man. Can we talk
and
about
jumping.
mascots for a minute? It's
Yeah, let's
hilarious.
get into some mascots.
What happened to mascots?
We don't have them
We don't
anymore.
have them
Nintendo is the
Fucking
only
gone.
people rocking
Yeah.
mascots.
It fits them. It suits
You know,
them. I don't think
PS3 had the LBP thing. They kind of rolled.
They
They
tried.
tried.
They
They
tried.
tried.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think Nintendo's the only one that needs a mascot.
Little Big
'Cause
Planet is a
as
great
much as I
platformer.
liked Crash Bandicoot, and he was definitely the mascot for the PlayStation 1, I don't know that I liked him as the mascot for the PlayStation 1.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I loved the games, but I just wasn't feeling that. It didn't seem true to Sony.
I never played a Crash Bandicoot game for more than a level or two.
Really?
Yeah, John played them.
Well, yeah, we were like 9 and 10
Yeah.
or younger.
Oh
so.
man, me and Nick used
Target
to fucking
audience.
shit on some Crash Bandicoot, dude. We used
Yeah.
to slay those motherfuckers. But like, yeah, I never
So what are
felt
the
it.
mascots that are still left outside the Nintendo realm?
You're asking like what are
They
the,
have
what
some,
are
I
the
don't-
defining
Well, I mean, there are
franchises?
I think
like the
PlayStation's
classic-
defining class like characters are Sackboy now.
There's another one I can't think of the name.
Nathan
of.
Drake probably.
Nathan Drake.
No,
for
like
sure.
the classic cartoonish
Oh, I don't think they
style.
have that anymore.
They don't.
That's like so gone.
I don't know if it's Sony owned, but there's damn it.
Sly Cooper.
Nope.
Like that's about. The
It's like
closest-
two names.
Ratchet and Clank,
Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, yeah, and they're
Jack
like
and Daxter.
Jack and Daxter too.
all of those are gone now.
They don't make those games anymore?
I don't think so.
They haven't made a new Ratchet games.
They made like some Ratchet games that weren't
for
necessarily
PS3. I think that they were like they had 2 on PS3 as I recall.
And
I'm not-
Sega is determined to not release good Sonic games.
Like...
Because I've heard the new Sonic Boom is just like completely broken.
oh yeah, I mean
What
Sonic Colors had great.
Sonic is just like a joke now. It's like
Sonic Colors was like a good one,
7. That's the best.
Well, the DS version was highly praised, more so than the actual
other
Wii
versions,
version.
Yeah. I don't know enough. I know that Sonic is in a
Yeah.
poor state these days.
Sega is
So
really
you,
not killing it.
You guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up.
All right. Well, we
Wrap it up.
yeah.
That's
It was nice talking to you guys.
That's it. Yeah, it was good talking to you guys. Tune in next week. We're gonna talk about.
More stuff that you'd like to hear about.
Yeah, I don't want to give any spoilers, but we're definitely gonna talk about how big my wiener is. Boom.
Holla!
Let's go.
Yeah.
Done.
Peace.
Done.